blue lights on.
Yeah, gotcha.
Hey, 1, 2.
we present? Order we present? Okay.
Okay, that's what I figured. I noticed that. So I think it's an investment for water. And you did hear me. I did a late show. I said I would let the cat out. Do you know what they're like? My internet said that she should go back to
So let me just show you this.
That's very, very. I'm like a kid.
Hey.
Frustrated that they're selling policy money.
No, I got you with
Oh, okay. I think
Genetics.
I'm gonna help you sit.
Let's do it. Right. So
You had to correct
Yours is cold. Mine's warm, but it's cold. Probably DGP's coming out first. DGP and PEDS, because I need that space so I can renovate that space. So probably end of May, early June.
Alright. So I'll probably have one more done by.
If you're seeing them in May, probably.
They're not coming.
How are you doing?
Other than my I'm looking to meet funding this
And we appreciate that. Silence everything.
okay. You can find out too. I said I wrote mine out because I don't want to ramble.
Do not disturb. The only thing that comes on is my house alarm. If it goes off.
I'll tell you read it.
So if it's going off, it's my house alarm. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh. wanted to respond to him. I asked Julie Green. Julie Green said she doesn't know Patricia Huckabee. So I told her to reach out to Dr. Brumage, find out what she's doing.
I really enjoyed yesterday.
She's leaving and we didn't know.
I really enjoyed the conversation.
And I'll get back to her.
Thank you. Thanks to you.
Well, I know Chris Martin and Chuck told me they were going to hire her. And a little bit of intelligence, yeah. I can't imagine she would have.
That means can I start towards the podium while you're talking?
I know, but you wouldn't know that. So you would not know.
I wasn't smart enough to correct that. Some of y'all were smart enough to correct that. Whoever put your slides together correctly.
Let there be light. So good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. It's really, really a special treat for us to be able to present to you the state of the health sciences. And we thought it was appropriate to start off with part of our iconic pylons area. And we know that Milton Horn was commissioned to build the pylons that sit here in the Health Science Center in 1954 and finished the engravings in 1956, which represent the areas of healthcare that are also overseen with our our 5 different health science schools. And what's really interesting metaphorically is there's the engravings in the marble that represent knowledge that is the past, that's being passed then to the students that you see illuminated there to hand them the knowledge currently for them to be able to create medicine of the future. And the word pylon comes from the root word, which translates to gateway. And to have a gateway into the health sciences to be able to serve the people of West Virginia, to drive the economy of the state of West Virginia, and to teach and train the people of West Virginia is a special honor. And on the pylons at the top, we see Hippocrates. Hippocrates is the father of medicine and came up with the only Latin words that I know, which is primum non nocere, which means first, do no harm. And as we look at where we are today and the momentum that has been created over the last 5 to 10 years, and the mission we have, which is larger than any one of us, to serve and improve the lives of the people of our state, and the road ahead, I want to have a question rest with you. What does it mean to be the academic health center, 5 health colleges on one campus at an R1 university, because there's only about a handful, about 11 or so institutions that meet that need, to be adjacent to the largest academic health center in the state of West Virginia, WVU Madison, many fewer, and then to be a Carnegie R1 high research classified university that is also a community involved university by Carnegie, community engaged, in a state that has some of the worst health metrics in the country, that is rugged rural. There's really only one, and that's us. And that's not a burden, that is a calling. And that is really the grounding of all that we've tried to build here and what we're going to present to you today. So let's go over some of the headwinds. We know that higher education is changing. We're facing a demographic cliff. For those who don't know what the demographic cliff is, it is that the number of 18-year-olds that exists in the United States is going to be decreasing over the next 10 to 25 years. And that's because the number of births have gone down since the 2005 to 2008 era. And we have seen the most 18-year-olds that have peaked last year, and now they're going down, which means we have fewer students that will be available for higher education. We also know with the advent of artificial intelligence, things are changing, jobs is changing. But even though we have a number of headwinds, healthcare is booming. Healthcare is projected to grow about 13% in the next decade. Last year in healthcare, we spent about $5.3 trillion. $5.3 trillion, which is about 18% of the gross domestic product of the United States. Remember that the GDP of the United States is about $30 to $31 trillion, and our national debt is now $38 to $39 trillion. So healthcare is the biggest economic sector we have in this country. And as we look at what we have built here, which, as I said, is fairly rare when you look around the country, we are extremely well positioned to start to lead in this area. Other universities, large universities, very high reputation universities are spending billions of dollars to try to create what we have, an integrated health system where education and clinical care are aligned. Research that not only generates dollars and expenditures from grants and contracts, but solves real problems of real people, delivers those solutions to all parts of our state, all people in our state, and starts to create an educational pipeline that doesn't only add to the lacking need of healthcare providers, but positions those healthcare providers in parts of our state that truly need help. So from a health sciences perspective, we are an engine for the state. Few sectors combine the impact, the workforce, and economic strength of healthcare. And as we see here, in 2024, the Health Science Center generated an economic impact of $811.5 billion. And as we look at that, we see that 241 million is in direct expenses, what we pay for people, what we've invested in the environment that we have here. And another 571 million is invested in communities, in people, in businesses, in investment. And when we look at the impact, when we add the academic health system, WVU Medicine, and also the university, we see nationally that we create a total impact of 21.6 billion. And that includes $1 billion in state and local taxes. It also, as we look at the impact for the state of West Virginia, we see that the two entities, WVU and WVU Medicine, account for 84,500 jobs in the state. Combined, the largest employer in the state of West Virginia. And in fact, importantly, 1 out of every 9 jobs has direct impact from WVU and WVU Medicine. When we look at the impact economically, 14.3 billion in statewide economic impact and 6.3 billion in indirect and induced impact. As we look at the health sciences as a compendium with WVU Medicine, we are not a cost center for the university. We are an economic pillar. And this pillar is getting bigger. We are growing to meet the need of our state and our country. And as we start to look at these metrics were driven by strategic and intentional investments. As we can see, between 2018 and 2025, we have increased our revenues at the Health Science Center from $234 million to $363 million a year. That is a 55% increase in our revenues. When we look at the growth in our faculty, along with our academic health system partner and UHA practice plan, we have been able to grow our faculty by 716 members. Our staffing has also gone up, and you can see not as much as our faculty, and we have made great efforts to be a very lean, very efficient organization, and much of our staffing increases has been around the investment in our cancer program, the Clinical Translational Science Institute that Dr. Sally Hodder will talk about here soon, and also I see Jeff Coben here, the Health Affairs Institute that has grown and is self-supporting. Importantly, our enrollment has gone up to now over 4,000 students. We have 685 residents and fellows, our graduate medical education, and that's increased by 250 since 2018. And as we look at the educational programs we have here, we have over 150 programs, 89 graduate medical education programs, of which 43 are the only ones in the state. So if you want to train in these areas of specialty, you have to train here or you have to train out of state somewhere else. And Dr. Ming Lei will talk about our research expenditures, but while we have done, I think, very important growth, strategic growth in our faculty, in our students' enrollment, and our training opportunities, it's also important to note that we are a driver of research at this university as part of the responsible numbers for our R1 high research designation by the Carnegie Institute, and we account for over half of the research expenditures in the university. So we are an engine for the university, we're an engine for WVU Medicine, and we're an engine for the state of West Virginia. And as we look at our ability to sustain the momentum we have to expand our capacity to educate, to discover, and to serve. So we look at a variety of ways that we're doing this. We're expanding our simulation capacity through STEPS. And for those of you who don't know what STEPS is, Dr. Louise Veselicki will talk about that here soon. STEPS is simulation, training, and education for patient safety. It's our simulation lab. And based on the certification from the Society of Simulation and Healthcare, we have one of the top 10 programs in the world. One of the top 10 programs in the world. We are growing our clinical trials, and I think Dr. Sally Hodder will talk about that, in clinical and translational research, which brings our interventions and capabilities to all parts of our state. We are committed and working toward NCI designation, which there's currently 73 NCI designated cancer centers in the country. We are a state of greatest need, and to bring those capabilities to West Virginia is important. We are also planning a new health sciences education building, and we are so grateful that the legislature appropriated $30 million as a starting point for that. And so we are building the future here now. And I want to give a shout out to Scotty Fultz, who's sitting right here. Operation Blue Sky is such an important program for us. And this is really targeted at our people. targeted at everybody in the room, targeted at our trainees, targeted at our students. You can see here the pictures of people coming together with therapy animals and attending concerts, music in the pylons with crafts together. And you can see the sign that says all are welcome. That's not a decoration, that is a declaration. This is about us creating community. It's about us taking care of the people that take care of others. It's about creating a safe environment that welcomes everybody, that values everybody, and allows people to do their best work. So I want to take 1 second and let you read that. Health sciences is not simply a part of our university. It is one of the most powerful forces we have to improve the health, prosperity, and future of West Virginia. And the future is so bright because each of you are here and on this team. And with that, I'd like to turn to the presentations from the different schools and from our Health Science Center leadership. And first, we're going to start with the School of Dentistry, which is both creating the environment for the future and starting to continue to build the capacity for the state of West Virginia. So Dr. Stephen Pisciuto. Just click it.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to share a few of the successes of our School of Dentistry. We have many, and it is a real honor and a privilege to be able to be a part of today's discussions. So I'd like to begin by just pointing out that, and I think this is a statistic that many of you all know and have heard us talk about, we are the only school of dentistry in the state of West Virginia. 87% of the dentists that practice in West Virginia are graduates of our school. So when you think about that, you think about our mission, you think about the alignment with our land grant mission and giving back to the state of West Virginia, it is significant. I can tell you from observation, personal observation, and historical data that the access to care needs in rural West Virginia for dental health care and oral health care are significant. So several years ago, when we had a serious conversation about, where do we see the school and where do we see the school going, pretty much at the top of everyone's list was a modernization and a renovation of our school. I think everyone in here is pretty much aware that in the Health Sciences School, in the HSC and Health Sciences Center, we have our pre-doctoral and dental hygiene education programs. And then we have our Suncrest Town Center operations as the crow flies about a mile away over in Suncrest Town Center. So when we were looking at options for modernization of the school, a lot of really strong support came from the president of the university, from Dr. Marsh, from our federal legislators, from our state legislators, from the university writ large, from the West Virginia Dental Association, on how we could, affect meaningful change. So we ended up coming up with a two-phase renovation plan for the school. Phase one was made possible through a $12.6 million federal appropriation, and we started about 18 months ago on the actual construction of the project. As you can see, there's a pointer on here, right? Yes. As you can see, pediatric dentistry and orthodontics, the Innovation Center, and the dental group practice, which is basically this first area. All of these are located over at Suncrest Town Center. An effort was made to put them in phase one, bring phase one over to the Academic Medical Center as soon as we can, and then we would go into phase two, which is new specialty clinics and a new front door. We're excited to say that May 3rd, we will have substantial completion of phase one renovations. We will start the transition back from Suncrest end of May, and by August 1st, we will all be over here, and we will transition approximately 20,000 of the 27,000 square feet of space that we lease. Again, this was made directly possible by many, many people, Dr. Marsh and university leadership team really supporting this from the get-go. Last year, we were also able to successfully, Scotty gave me 2 minutes. We were able to successfully replace our dental simulation lab, modernize the sim lab, 61 new units. We have our certified tobacco treatment training program, which is run by Ms. Sue-Ann Gatos. That's integrated across all health sciences schools. We have about 117 people currently enrolled in asynchronous training. Again, Benedum Foundation funded much of that, and the Health Sciences Center funded much of it as well. From the admissions side, we had 1,309 applicants for our DDS program this year, which is just a wonderful accomplishment. We select 48 students. Of those applicants, 70 are from West Virginia. Of the selects, 27 are from West Virginia. For our dental hygiene program, we had 275 applicants for 23 seats, and we were able to place 100% of our DDS and our dental hygiene graduates. 40% of our dentists this year that graduated stayed in the state. That is a significant accomplishment. For next year, for our priorities, we want to transition from phase 1 to phase 2 renovations. Phase 2 was made possible again by a $15 million federal appropriation championed by Senator Capito. We anticipate this fall. That money comes to us, by the way, through a HRSA grant. So we have to apply for the HRSA grant, and we manage that $15 million through the grant. Hope to start that renovation later on this fall. Again, phase 2 is all of our specialty clinics. And it's a new front door. This is actually a fairly accurate rendering. When you come in, here's the area in front, the glass doors, and you will walk into our specialty clinics. New front door. Surgery will be moved into the specialty clinics. Also, 2 more things. We received a state appropriation this year for an additional $5 million for renovation of our main student clinic. We're excited about that. We're going to reimagine our main clinic and the delivery of care there. We also are going to focus on faculty recruiting for some of our harder to recruit specialties. And lastly, we're going to undertake a fairly significant review of our curriculum. The profession of dentistry is changing rapidly, as is dental education. So thank you again for the opportunity.
5 minutes goes quick. So I'd like next to invite Dr. Norman Ferrari, who's the Chief Academic Officer for Medical Education and the Vice Dean for the School of Medicine.
Thank you, Clay. So our key accomplishments from last year is really expansion of our Matter Track program to 20 positions. For those of you that don't know, we're one of about 32 medical schools that offer an accelerated track to finish the MD degree in 3 years. Our program is unique in that they must track into one of our residency programs. We know that our graduates who train in our GME programs have the highest likelihood of remaining in West Virginia and serving our citizens. We have 10 GME programs that currently participate in the Matter Track. We recently have had contact with a few other programs that are interested in joining. We were able to expand that program this last year from 15 positions to 20 through a partnership with our clinical partners at WVU Medicine, who agreed to fund the other 5 positions. I also want to point out that we are not newcomers to teaching nutrition in medical school. We have been doing this long before it became a hot issue with the federal government. Our curriculum committee had the foresight to commission a nutrition thread led by Dr. Laura Davison. And we have also had the culinary lifestyle medicine track, which started at our Eastern Division, that impacts a subgroup of students who have a special interest in nutrition. And they run teaching kitchens even here in Morgantown for all of the Morgantown-based students utilizing the teaching kitchen at the Davis College. Our priorities for next year are continuation of exploring the expansion of class size. Starting this fall, we will have 120 new medical students. That's the largest class size we have ever had, and that sort of caps us out without seeking consent from the LCME. In order to do that, Dr. Marsh already alluded to the fact that we are going to be exploring building expansion and renovation, and we got the seed money from the state to do that. That is a critical component to allow us to expand the class size eventually from 120 to 150. We don't have any doubt that we'll be able to fill those seats. Our admissions team works very hard to screen over 6,000 applicants a year.
I just want to restate a couple things Norm said. Importantly, coming up with ways that we can help our students graduate faster and stay in West Virginia. The retention part is going to be a bigger and bigger part of our strategy. And also the idea that we want to meet the need of the state by increasing the pipeline of healthcare professionals to be able to go to different parts of the state, and the coordinated effort we have from our legislature to do that, very, very important. Next, I'd like to ask Dr. Mary Beth Mandich to come and present on the professional programs. She has really created the largest group of students and the most number of programs in the School of Medicine, and has done an amazing job. Mary Beth.
Hi, as Dr. Marsh said, I'm the Vice Dean for Health Professions, otherwise known as, somebody coined it, the Vice Dean of everything else. So that rich array of health professions that keeps us healthy, rehabilitates us when we are injured, and takes care of us when we are sick, those are the professions that I represent. We have traditionally been tried to be very responsive to the healthcare needs of the state and to WVU health system. And that is part of the reason for the explosive growth. As most of you know, particularly the COVID pandemic brought to light the critical need for respiratory therapists. So we started a baccalaureate degree in respiratory therapy, and we will have our first graduates in May. They all have jobs already, and quite good positions. We have we're very sensitive to the costs of higher education, and we have started a number of fast track programs, accelerated bachelor's to master's degree programs. And one of the ways to decrease cost is to decrease the length of time. And so these fast track programs share a fourth year of undergraduate with first year of graduate education. And we have a number of those programs. We have just gotten approval for programs from exercise physiology to athletic training, exercise physiology to physical therapy, immunology and medical microbiology into public health. And so those are examples of some of the programs we have. The Office of Research and Graduate Education has run a master's degree for several years. That was a degree that many institutions offer to allow people who aspire to professional programs to rehabilitate their transcript with taking advanced sciences. We took over that degree this year because I was very sympathetic to particularly West Virginia students and trying to help Norman get more qualified West Virginia students. We have revised that curriculum and are working to help those students be prepared to apply to medical school and other health profession schools. We have several people on our advising team who have won the Nick Evans Award for advising, and because of the professions I represent, collaboration is in our DNA. So we've collaborated with the School of Dentistry to advise the undergrad dental hygiene students and do their clinical credentialing. We have established MCAT prep course at the request of several that was first offered in fall semester 2025 to very positive reviews. So we will continue to do that. Some of you may not be aware that we have several faculty practices. We have a physical and occupational therapy faculty practice here in this building, and we have a faculty practice in speech language pathology and audiology in the health education building. And we provide not only high-level clinical services, but we also provide education opportunities for students in those practices and opportunities for research. Many outside clinical practices don't have time to deal with that, and our practices are built for that. We have established a Center for Academic Engagement, which offers student success, and that is reflected in our retention rates. So we had last year a decrease in freshman admission, but because we retained students at a higher level, we were able to keep our enrollment pretty steady. For our priorities for the upcoming year is to maintain and grow our enrollment in programs, again, facing headwinds, including the caps on student loan borrowing. So I've already talked about trying to get accelerated programs so that we can decrease the length of time. We also, anywhere I go, I'm working with the university and pleading for access to market-based tuition, where we actually are examining which programs can bear the high out-of-state WVU tuition and which programs need some kind of reduction in order to stay competitive. I've been approached by the Department of Radiation Oncology to look at a master's degree in medical physics. So this is early days, but we've already met with the Department of Physics downtown. They are very excited to get an ABM, accelerated bachelor's to master's, and we'll be working on that intent to plan over the summer. Also dealing with lab workforce needs at the hospital. They need people of many, many disciplines: histotechnology, clinical lab sciences. Cytotechnology is another one that they currently outsource to another university, and we're going to evaluate whether or not we can bring that home. And then I want to continue to manage our clinical volumes. It's a delicate dance to not oversubscribe our workforce, but we have a lot of desire for the expertise of our faculty in our clinics. And for example, we are in the process of finalizing an MOU with the Department of Athletics. They do not have a physical therapist on staff, and so we're going to provide physical therapy rehab services for them by our sports clinical specialists. And lastly, anyone who knows me knows that I believe that programs get nationally ranked. Despite how good they are at education, they get nationally ranked when they have a national presence in research. And so we are dealing with all of the instability in the extramural funding, just like everybody else is. But the other challenge that we have is we've brought in a number of disciplines like athletic training, like audiology, that are used to having PhD students. So we are working to incorporate that into the research portfolio and have funded faculty who can do that. We've already changed the name of our PhD in exercise physiology to pathophysiology, rehabilitation, and performance to capture some of the athletic training and rehab disciplines, as well as our core of faculty who do bench research in cardiovascular and metabolic disease. That's health professions.
Next, we're going to invite Dean Tara Halsey up to talk about the School of Nursing that is really doing an amazing job of enhancing and increasing the number of learners in the school. And Tara will tell you about what they're doing locally, for the state, and nationally.
Well, thank you. Our School of Nursing is the largest nursing program in the state. Excuse me, I'm recovering from a cold. We actually currently now have 5 campuses, and we have close to 2,000 students. So we have been extremely busy with expansion over the last several years now. And that's been in a lot of different areas. It's adding new campuses, it's adding new programs, really to meet the workforce needs of the state, and we take that as a priority. But the particular area that we've really focused on with expansion is our BSN program. And we have doubled that enrollment. And we are actually at absolute max capacity now for that program. And we have a waiting list. So if anybody wants to give us a new building, we're happy to address that issue. But right now, we're happy to say we are totally maxed out and accepting all of the qualified applicants that we can. And we have so many qualified applicants that we are still not able to accept. So hopefully we'll be able to address that not too long down the road. We launched a new program at our Kaiser campus. It's our LPN to BSN program. It's one of the only ones in the state. And we will be graduating that first cohort very soon, in fact, this year. We went into partnership with the Bedford Falls Foundation. And this foundation focuses on nursing primarily. And they choose, we're the only one in West Virginia that they've partnered with, and they've given us several $1 million that will support several of our programs, both at the undergraduate level and at the doctoral level. So we're very excited about that accomplishment. Another partnership that we're excited about that we started last year was with Johns Hopkins University. And this is bringing their Inside Outside program to West Virginia. It's the only one in the world. And they, of course, are metropolitan and we are rural. So it's like the city mouse, country mouse model. And it's an opportunity for our pre-licensure BSN students to choose to do their clinical learning in community-based settings rather than all in acute care. And so the goal of this is to increase the workforce within community settings. So we will be launching that this year, actually, but the partnership started last year. We've been working with their faculty. Then we actually have an R01 funded multi-million-dollar research study, and that is looking at palliative care in heart failure patients that are in rural Appalachia. So we are thrilled to be able to have that research going on and that as a funded R01 study. NCLEX pass rates, that's our RN licensure exam. I cannot brag enough about that. Our largest BSN program for the whole year of 2025 was 100%, and that's over 200 students that all passed on the first attempt. So we are absolutely thrilled with that outcome and plan to continue that. Last that I will there are many accomplishments, so I'm just highlighting a few. But the last one that I'll mention is our partnership with the Philippines. It's our international BSN program. These students complete our curriculum the first 3 years in the Philippines, and then they come to us their senior year. We just graduated last year, our first graduate from that program who passed on her first attempt, and she's working for WVU Medicine and plans to stay here. So we're excited about that. So our priorities, wellness initiatives. Last year, I appointed a wellness counselor. This person is a mental health specialist, and she is working with students and faculty at all 5 of our campuses and has a lot of wellness initiatives that we'll be rolling out this year, actually. We want to renovate one of the wings here and our Morgantown campus on the 6th floor, which is where the School of Nursing main campus is. And we were going to focus on wellness. It'll add additional classrooms, a skills lab, a wellness area, and a lounge area for students. And so we're working to make that happen. We're going to continue to focus on global partnerships, our partnership with the Philippines to continue to grow that program. Also, we will be launching an exchange program with Barcelona. So we will also continue this year and the years to come to address the workforce needs. We're going to be bringing this year our LPN to BSN program to the Beckley campus, and that was just approved last week by the RN board. So we are excited to bring that. Our Master's in Nursing Leadership is a brand new program, and that is in response to a demand for the state, and we'll be launching that this year. We're going to continue the expansion of the BSN. We're at max capacity, but we've got the next 2 cohorts to continue rolling that out. We'll do that this year. We're also going to expand our nurse anesthetist program, and we have an application in and waiting to hear back for approval of that, and do do not anticipate any issues with that. We're going to, as I mentioned, roll out the inside-outside program for community-based nursing. And the last thing that I will highlight for our priorities is we have a brand new program in Beckley, and that's our Level Up program. And that is a new program where high school students can take credit towards our BSN program. And my time is up.
We'll next transition to the School of Pharmacy, and Dean Bill Petros will present. And I think you're going to really appreciate how the School of Pharmacy is leading nationally and innovating locally.
He's being nice to me because they took away all my pictures from the slides. So, sorry. For the faculty, you'll see him in faculty meeting instead. Okay, so I got a lot of things. I'm going fast. So start out with the students. I tried to mix in students, faculty, alumni, et cetera, in these slides. So our students participated in a national mock trial competition where they had to debate multiple other schools about contemporary topics. And they actually won the national title this year at our American College of Clinical Pharmacy competition. So that was exciting. The class of 25 did really well on their boards. They were in the top 21st percentile in the nation for the first time board passing rate. We've just got our, at the beginning of 2025, got our 8-year full ACPE accreditation. And we were also, and in fact, also our partner school in Oman, we helped them get their first international accreditation this year. We also were the teach out institution. University of Charleston discontinued their PharmD program. And so we took on those students, and I'll shout out to Mary Samatakis and Ashley Beckman, who took the bulk of the load coordinating the curriculum to make sure the students had all the courses they needed and patched them in and really fostered them through it. And Lena Mayners helped them a lot acclimate to the program. And so far, so good on that. We had our inaugural high school summer pharmacy camp event this past year, and it was really fun, and the students had a lot of fun. We're actually going to do 2 of them this year, and we actually had a 4-H event too for the local 4-H group in similar manner. We have this new strategy where we're trying to increase our shared faculty on our clinical side with others, with this health centers in Morgantown and in Charleston with our other faculty down there. And we actually grew positions in cancer prevention and control, shared position, another physician in family medicine at the Cheat Lake facility, and with WVU Medicine, where we're actually taking a 25% school effort, 75% WVU Medicine effort for oncology and infectious disease faculty. So those have worked really well so far, and happy to have those partnerships. An interesting project that was started out with one of our donors, Bob Powell, wanted to donate to a research project that could help community pharmacies. And so Kazu Kido is one of our clinicians that works in heart failure with George Sokos, one of our alumni, but also a physician that heads cardiology for the Heart and Vascular Institute. And they developed a heart failure community project using community pharmacists to optimize healthcare. And Bob seeded that money project, and they've just gotten one a regional grant that I don't think has been publicly announced yet. So I won't say who it was coming from, but they just got a regional grant to fund almost a statewide, actually moving into Pennsylvania with that project too. So that's exciting, where philanthropy developed something into a research program too. Our rational drug therapy program, not a lot of people probably know about it. It sits down in Pineview, and they have about 30 or so employees, and they actually run a national award for medication management and have a record number of funding and activity. They do about 300,000 medical reviews a year in that program. So they review medication use throughout the state for both PIA and for West Virginia Medicaid. Dr. Babla and Crystal Hughes, a recent graduate, also got a pretty cool article. It's a nice picture, again, on a journal cover, one of their really novel projects on delivering drugs with nanoparticles to bone marrow. And Tom Menigan, one of our alumni that is also one of our assistant deans for community engagement, won the highest award in professional pharmacy internationally. It's called the Remington Medal Award. Only one other West Virginian in the over 100-year history of this award has won it. and Tom just got it. Here's our priorities. I'll go through them really quick. I know I'm getting close on time. And I just put a variety of them on here. We don't have to go through them all, but we're going to explore the integration of one of the things that Clay mentioned here is we have a really unique health science center. You think about it, the number of programs that we teach here are unparalleled. Penn doesn't have them. University of Pennsylvania doesn't have the array that we do. University of Virginia doesn't. Penn State doesn't. Yet we don't market them as one big program to high school students. And I think we really need to think about that across our schools. Formalization of an accelerated PharmD pathway. We have a couple students that go 1 year pre-pharmacy and then 4 years in the school pharmacy right now because they have enough high school credits. And we think that's a pathway to reducing their education down for the select ones that can do that. We're looking at funding our early pharmacy scholarships. A lot of them are more funded on the late side of that. But we did give over $300,000 out last year, and we'll do it again this year. Integration of pharmacy, lifelong learning things and micro credentials, et cetera. We're changing our CE over to something along those lines. We're developing a shared cardiovascular fellowship that's philanthropically funded through an endowment with WVU Medicine, and they're funding the clinical side of it. So that's kind of neat. And we're also developing for our graduate program some industry funded PhD fellowship, pre and postdoc fellowships. We have one in place, and we're looking at some more of those. And we're looking at other areas for our school pharmacy, add-on degrees, add-on areas of emphasis. And finally, we want to try to promote multidisciplinary research both within our school and beyond. So we're looking at a couple avenues of doing that. So I'm sorry, I just hit, some overview priorities of the school, and happy to talk about those later.
I think one of the really interesting recurring messages is how we're also trying to reduce the number of years it takes students to get degrees, therefore saving money, but also having a higher likelihood of retaining those students in West Virginia. And for the last of our 5 schools, Dean, last but not least, Dean Sarah Woodrum, who I think is doing something that may be one of the most courageous efforts that we've had since I've been here at least, which is a reimagining of a school and trying to really position the school to be really successful, not only today, but for the long term. Sarah.
Thank you, Clay. I want to start out by saying we do still remain the only accredited school in the state of West Virginia, and that's very important to us. But I think as student enrollment, I have to change my own slides. As student enrollment continued to go down for the university and for our school over the past several years, our school really knew that we had to change. And so instead of focusing on what we thought the students wanted, we decided to take on a strategic planning process and figure out what we were actually missing. The intent of our planning process, which really was over the whole last summer and into the fall, was to kind of meet the demands, first and foremost, of tomorrow's workforce for public health, to increase the return on investment for our students, and to ensure that our curriculum as it stands remains relevant, impactful, and sustainable. So as Clay mentioned, the focus of this past year has been to reimagine our school, which is what we've done, and I'm excited to tell you all about it. The result was that we realized we had spread ourselves way too thin. We had lost focus of who we were and why we were here. Our school mission goes hand in hand with the mission of our land-grant institution, and that has never changed. Therefore, after months of planning, we pared back our degree offerings and made our focus on in-demand programs, high return on investment programs, and online offerings. We're now focused primarily on preparing students for evolving job markets and the industry trends. It's of the utmost of importance that they be able to hit the ground running when they leave WVU with a degree in their hand. They've got to be able to start and contribute to the workforce from the get-go. Combing the job data, we saw that the 10-year job outlook has great growth assigned to careers like epidemiology, medical and health services administration, and community health workers. Also, approximately 9% of medical students nationally now pursue a dual degree of an MPH and an MD. And we are leading the way, getting back into that game. So looking ahead, the bottom line is we're now doing, I believe, what we do best. We're sticking to our core and we're focusing on a portfolio that is simplified, straightforward, and high quality. At the undergraduate level, we still have our bachelor's degree, our Bachelor of Science in Public Health, but the key here, the big change, is that we decreased the number of credits to be 48 credit hours. Why we did this is because it's more appealing for transfer students. Not many people come out of high school saying, I want to do a career in public health. We get a majority of our students from transfers within the university. And so this allows them to do that without the penalty of what Dr. Mandich talked about, which was increasing costs. And that is not what we're here to do. It also allows students who want to pursue graduate school or professional degrees to be able to fill all the prerequisites while they're in our undergraduate program. We don't want students having to stay longer by changing their major. This works well for students who, especially the ones that thought they wanted a clinical career until they took organic chemistry or other classes like that, and then decided, wait, I want healthcare, I want to help people, but I don't think it's in a direct care role. And we knew we had to give them accelerated options. Mary Beth Mandich focused on this, and I will reiterate, if they know what they want to do, why make them wait longer? And we knew we could get them through a bachelor's to master's in 4 to 5 years total. We now have simplified minors. We have a health services management minor and a public health minor. And so those are really where everyone can be outside of the health sciences center too. We also still are in the collaborative minor with the School of Medicine and Rural and Appalachian Health Disparities. At the graduate level, our 2 signature programs are still the MPH and the MHA. We have 3 areas of emphasis in the MPH, but the noticeable difference now is that if you want health services administration, we move you into our MHA program. We don't want to compete against ourselves, and that's what we were doing with the MPH and the MHA. We've accelerated programs from our bachelor's degree, and I think as Dr. Mandich mentioned, from the IMMB, the immunology and microbiology into our MPH, and then we've also restarted the MD MPH. We have our first 2 students kind of being a pilot this year, but it's going very well, and we anticipate increasing that enrollment. The MHA, the most noticeable change is our new executive track. We found that we weren't competitive. We're now down to 30 hours on an online track for people who are working. We have a dual PharmD MHA and an accelerated degree from not only the Bachelor's of Science to the MHA, but also Health Informatics Management into our MHA. We also still have our PhD programs, and those are going strong in epidemiology and social behavioral. And in summary, because Scotty's giving me the eye, in addition to paring down our degree offerings, we have put a big focus on our students because enrollment is everything, and meeting our students' needs has to be the focus. We feel confident that our new plan has poised us for sustainable growth. Our efforts are paying off. We have had record first-time freshman admission for fall of '26. We're also currently sitting at 100% undergraduate retention rate. Our reimagined school isn't just an update. It's a commitment to student success in an ever-changing world. We are small, but the students feel valued, and they're not just a number in our school. They are a name, and we are investing in their success every day and in the state of West Virginia. Thank you.
Now we're going to turn from the report on the schools to start to cover some of the areas of the health sciences. And starting at the larger frame is Dr. Sally Hodder, who oversees clinical and translational research, both at the health sciences and also as the director of the Clinical Translational Science Institute. And as most people know, Sally is also the first elected National Academy of Medicine member in West Virginia University history. Sally.
Thank you for that kind introduction. Thank you all for being here. Accomplishments for the CTSI are Mobile Clinical Trials Unit rolled out this year. It's a 40-foot vehicle with 2 exam rooms, a lavatory, and a laboratory area that has a tabletop refrigerated centrifuge. If you have a trial you think is appropriate, we have an application process. We also have a budget sheet that if you're applying for funding. Project ECHO is a platform that brings together primary care providers and experts to increase subspecialty knowledge in primary care, particularly in rural areas. 10 years ago when this started, the wait to see a specialist for hepatitis C was 6 to 9 months. With our ECHO program, it was as quickly as folks could be presented. Under the direction, excellent direction of Jay Mason, Project ECHO today is in 47 West Virginia counties, 34 states, and 3 foreign countries, which I think really attests to the quality of the program. As we all know, health outcomes in rural America are significantly worse than in urban America, and yet in rural America, you have the fewest clinical trials. We were one of 3 inaugural hubs awarded by the NIH to implement clinical trials in rural primary care offices. We're working with 4 primary care health systems, mostly in southern West Virginia. We started with 6 clinics in those systems. We've now expanded that. We are doing a gout trial. You know, gout goes back to the pharaohs. You can see gout in the hieroglyphics, and it goes back further than that. T-Rex actually had gout. They have found uric acid crystals in the joints. No wonder they were so grouchy. Anyway, in 2026, that you should take that off my time. In CME. In 2026, the American College of Rheumatologists, American College of Physicians disagree on how to treat gout, and the trial that's being enrolled will figure that out. A real bottleneck to growing clinical trials is the clinical trial agreement. It's not uncommon at some places that by the time the agreement is signed, the trial is closing because they've enrolled everybody. We've implemented a service headed by Paul Fetty that is really laser focused on efficient clinical trial agreement execution. Our in-house processing is less than a month. We can't control what happens out at the sponsors, but in-house we can, and we are. We've also procured a HIPAA-compliant high-performance computer cluster that takes large data sets with PHI, and it obviates having to wait in queue for CMU or for PIT to run your large data set. We also have a GIS system and an expert that really integrates health outcomes with location. That can be used for a lot of things, such as looking at the health impact of exposures. ISCORE stands for the IDEA States Consortium for Clinical Research. The IDEA States are those 23 states in Puerto Rico that don't get their fair share of NIH funding. During COVID, we started a network to do COVID studies, and more recently, under Megan Reeves' excellent direction, we've been awarded a resource center with the mission to grow clinical trials. The iScore RC team is doing that in 2 ways. Number 1, they've developed and implemented a clinical research coordinator training program and have graduated nearly 100 coordinators. And number 2, they're working with sites and sponsors to improve marketing of clinical trials. All of our sites, there are different sort of underrepresented groups that are served by iScore sites, but it's very attractive with many of the initiatives in industry looking to make sure that clinical trials are representative. And finally, we've implemented a investigator concierge. Frequently, people don't know where to go for help or what they need from CTSI. See Meg Hardman, and you can find her contact information on our website. Priorities, number 1 for this year is to submit a successful NIH renewal application for the next 5-year funding cycle, to increase clinical investigator resources, particularly clinical trial resources, to ensure participant safety and regulatory compliance. We're in the process of enhancing data use agreement services to be efficient, but also to really ensure that the large number of data projects, data going out, data coming in AI, are actually thoroughly reviewed and mitigate so far as possible risk. Grow clinical trials. I think I presented a number of tactics, but that is a real issue. I think that clinical trials, making them available, working with communities about trust in science is fundamental to improving health. And last but not least, we've been funded by the NIH, the co-PI is Dr. DeVries, to implement research tracks in both the internal medicine and family medicine residency programs with a focus on rural health. Thank you.
Now we move back to the core of what we do. The word doctor translates to teach or teacher. And I'd like to invite Dr. Louise Vasiliki, who oversees our academic affairs, which not only serves our students and learners, but also our faculty and staff. Louise.
It's really exciting to be a part of supporting the academic mission at the Health Science Center. And just like Kelly said, what we do is support faculty, staff, and students. So what are some of our accomplishments for this year? One is the completion of the Health Science Center specific promotion and tenure guidelines. This is targeted for our faculty success, and the university redid their guidelines, and now we did ours specific to health sciences. So that we had representatives from all 5 of our schools. Our support is for all 5 of our schools for the success of everyone here at Health Sciences. We opened a career closet. It's in our VP's Chancellor Suite, and it is where you can get clothing that students then don't have to worry about financially, that can set them up for clinical experiences, maybe interviews or career opportunities. We're opening this up for our residents as well as staff who may be interested. We have some nice free clothes in our clothes closet. So we did that this year. We've improved our recruitment, retention, and academic outcomes by growing our professional advisors. Mary Beth Mandich mentioned that. Several of our speakers up here mentioned. Clay talked about how we're growing our student body population, and we're also growing the support that we offer for them. Be Well. Be Well is an extension of the Caruth Center, which offers mental health support for our students. Our Be Well team, therefore, they are actually on our health science campus, available for students whenever is needed. During this time frame, we had a transition of a coordinator. They participate in our outreach activities and provide one-on-one support for our students. So we're really excited to have a Be Well team. Our interprofessional education program, we have 1,900 learners every year from our health science programs, our nursing remote campuses, the downtown campus, where students learn to work with each other. We have an IPE 101 core curriculum. We have an ideas curriculum where students learn how to do healthcare visits in homes in an interprofessional team. We have Project Doc, where students learn how to, through telemedicine, meet with parents of children with special needs, and they learn how to communicate and work with them. And then we have a poverty simulation. Many of you have participated. Everyone's welcome. The Global Affairs Office is in our academic support area. We established a new partnership for dental students this year and faculty in Bulgaria. And the big thing there is we secured Aramis funding. Does anyone know what that is? European Union funding. So that's pretty good in these times. So faculty development, we now, our Teaching Scholars program is open to all of our faculty who can learn and work with each other to be better teachers. We train you to be healthcare professionals. We also want to train you to be good teachers in our academic health center. And we also are providing Health Science Center Accommodation Testing Center. And this year we ran it by 110 exams that were run through this testing center. Our goals for next year are to increase the collaboration among all of our advising. Our advisors have won awards. We have very strong advisors. Increase our mental health screening capacity. We're going to start doing that. We did it for a while, and then we had a transition of leadership. Our mental health, it's not mandated, but if students want to participate in a screening where they can kind of, we can proactively address issues that may occur. Our STEP Center, Clay mentioned the growth there, a 6,000-foot expansion to support all of our students. IPE, more hands-on patient care experiences, and we want to try to start measuring the impact on patient care with our students being trained to work in teams. Our global, we want to pursue more global activities, and faculty development, we're working on more one-on-one coaching for faculty that need help, especially in the Eastern Campus. Our accommodation testing center, we want to make sure that anytime you need our center, we have staff there to support it. And the big thing that some of you are probably working on is that our Health Science Center now, each of our schools is working on developing school-specific promotion and tenure guidelines. This was brought on by the WVU Faculty Senate saying, hey, we want more absolute guidelines so that we can have more consistency across all of our programs in annual evaluation of faculty. So right now that's on, each school has been working on those guidelines, and that's one of our goals for this year. So again, it is fun to be in academics at the Health Science Center.
And last but not least, we have Dr. Ming Lei, who oversees our research and graduate education here at the Health Science Center. He's also serving as the interim vice president for research at the university. And we think about a bright future. We know that research is going to enable that. Ming.
So Scotty, before you start your magic clock, I want to say a couple of things quickly. First, for those of you who don't know, first of all, graduate student is the bloodline of our research. And this week actually is Graduate Student Appreciation Week, right? So if you haven't got a chance to thank the graduate student, do so. We had a reception this morning, so very well attended. So any graduate student here? Stand up. All right. Second thing is on the mirror side of the human capital is the infrastructure, physical infrastructure. Today we had a wonderful event run by our wonderful core facility director, Karen Martin. Every year we really brought the state-of-art research infrastructure together, core facilities showcase, right? So if you attend this, and like I did, walk through the entire 23 cores, you're not only going to learn a whole lot, and then you're also going to get a grand prize like this. Very good for health. So with that, Scotty, please. So first of all, next slide. Oh, I do the slide. Okay. So Clay mentioned that higher education had a few headwinds, right? But for those of you who are in research, you know that we sustained and overcome storms more than headwinds. So, but nonetheless, we survived, we weathered storms, and we have the numbers to show that. So last year, our research expenditure stayed steady. Actually, if you go beyond the layer, the surface, our grant overall grant actually have a slight increase. So this is testament to the dedication of all our faculties and students, not just my office. Thank you very much, right? And second thing, well, I want to say, they usually say, what doesn't kill you will make you stronger, right? So we will be stronger. So this is the second thing I want to say. we have been implementing a strategy quietly that's called Big Grant. So because for our academic medical center to go next step, in addition to our bedrock R1s, we have to go for the bigger grant, the large grant, all right? We define that for two types. One is research grant beyond $5 million in total, and also the training grants. So we have, this year, we have our COBRIS 3 renewed, and we have our 2 T32s training grant renewed. And Dr. Hodder mentioned the residence training grant R38 got awarded. And we also continue our effort to transform our internal synergy grant to bigger external grant. So we got our first NCIPO1 submitted, scored. We got a RM1 submitted, and we have a new mechanism that's new grant, NIH Blueprint MedTech, also in the running. So, and we also have our first ever MSTP application, T32, submitted, and our another Alzheimer stroke T32 submitted. And this is expanded from stroke to Alzheimer as well. And we have a workforce development grant invited back by the ARC, which is a 10 million grant we're going to submit in May. So next few things, we really expanded our research conference, the Van Leer conference, to statewide, to include statewide undergraduate students, and as well as to extend to industry outreach. And we built a AI-powered platform to help faculties to match the most relevant research funding opportunities. So it's running. The impact is not shown yet because last year, as I said, the entire federal government was in jeopardy. There's not a whole lot to match. But going forward, you're going to see the impact. Thirdly, we launched a Grants Academy, really to help cover the fundamentals of grant writing and develop a mechanism to have one-on-one mentoring. Hopefully this will strengthen our grant competitiveness. And we, after the headwind or storm, we reinstored the admission cohort of our PhD programs. And I'm very happy to report this year, our incoming class, 36% of the students are from the state of West Virginia. Compared to 2 years ago was 10%. So you can do the math. That shows a success to our new strategy and new focus. All right. Next year, we're going to renew our focus on the grant development with our new appointment of Dr. Schreier. We're going to strengthening the Grants Academy, strengthening the one-on-one mentoring. And also, we're going to strengthen the internal research support through pilot grants to bridge the needs of faculties and new ideas. We're going to further strengthen the big grant strategy because this year there will be several COBRIs to renew, and we have a whole bunch of a big grant I mentioned in the previous slides need to be resubmitted, and we are going to build a stronger capacity in the office. I'm going to call it, hopefully we're going to be red team ready, all right? So happy to report we just started this year's Synergy Grant, selected a grantee, so which is Dr. Heath Stammer, our vaccine for cancer. All right, we are going to, the university led by Leslie, our wonderful Leslie, had a strategic planning. And as Dr. Marsh mentioned, here at the HSC, we are the research engine of the university. So naturally, at least half of the project proposed in the research strategic planning are HSC led. So we're going to align with the strategy, not going to read through the project. Hopefully, we're going to take the next step from there. So, and we're going to collaborate with Mary Beth and others to start a TA program for our PhD student. So to open up the education opportunity to enrich their education experience, and as well as provide new revenue for PhD education. And our neighbor, NIOSH, got a new lease of life. We're going to reestablish our collaboration. For example, we can do contract research with them. And finally, we're going to develop a HSC-wide research space plan to align with the grants growth strategy of the HSC. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate everybody hanging in there with us. It's been a lot of information, but I think that what's really important is that the messages that we tried to send today were that we are more focused today on our mission than we've ever been before. We see ourselves as not only a part of the university, a cost center, a set of schools, but we are a force. We're a force that is capable and responsible, in my opinion, to improve the health, to drive prosperity, and to drive a successful and great future for all of our citizens. And we're going to do that by doubling down on our roots. And our roots include our people. I mean, really the key to what we can do is in the people sitting in the room and the cascading impact you each make on people in your environment. We know from Google that the most important single parameter for the highest performing teams are high degrees of psychological safety, which is our culture, inclusiveness, welcoming, community, service. Those are the things that really will take us forward. And while a lot of people can talk about, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, the key is not what we say, but it is what we do. And with the Carnegie designation as an R1 research university and as a community engaged university, many universities like us would see conflict. Do we try to focus on research expenditures and reputation? Do we focus on community engagement and purpose and service? Well, we decided to do both. And that makes all the difference, because by doing the work that translates education to clinical care, that translates discovery to better outcomes of people and communities in our state, and focuses on the ability to deliver clinical trials and new innovations to all reaches of our state, and to increase and drive the workforce, because healthcare seems to be a resilient part of our economy. And while everything else in many ways are suffering, healthcare continues to grow. And the growth is going to get bigger over time. And that is not a problem. That is a runway and an opportunity, not only for us at WVU, WVU Health Sciences, WVU Medicine to lead, but it's a way for us to create the future and have it start in West Virginia. So thank you very much. We'd be happy to take any questions. We're going to have some refreshments outside. There's 2 microphones. It's been a lot of information, like the Gary Larson cartoon. The kid says, "May I be excused? My brain is full." Understand that. But if anybody has any burning questions, our distinguished panel will be happy to address them. And I'll wait for a second or two. And if not, we'll see everybody outside and come up to anybody you want and ask questions. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Well done, Scotty. No, we needed you. We need you.
Sorry, Scotty.
Okay, shall we go?
I learned so much that you gave me a little diagram. No, that was great. That was really sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get Ken. He came in late, 102. Yeah, I'm gonna add Ken to it. Yeah. And yeah.